first, without a particular order, we want to say hello to Carrie Lazar. Carrie Lazar, she's our manager, content queen. She's in charge of all the content that we do, all the graphics that you see in front of you, everything that you see on our website as well. She's part of, the communications team. So Carrie, thank you very much for doing these presentations for us. And we have mentioned this before, but we want to emphasize it again, that everything that you see, it's organic. We don't copy and paste. We don't, just copy from somewhere else. No, Carrie is like always, dedicating her time to coming up with this organic content. So thank you, Carrie, for all you do. We also have Andrea Londono. She already spoke up. She's a question expert. She's the one that will be reading your questions after the presentation. Andrea, she's our marketing assistant. So, she's always helping us out with every task that we need. So we're so happy that you're here. And Andrea, it looks like you're getting very comfortable with the questions. So thank you very much. So if you have any questions, please send them directly to her, or like I said, using the Q&A feature or the chat. And then last but not least, we want to introduce the presenter of this afternoon. Her name is Kim Fridley. If you call the 800 number, option 7 will be the one to get in touch with her. So she's our membership development analyst. She's the one that will be answering your questions about membership or any products and services that we have. So she has so much, financial institution experience. So best believe that if you have a question, she will have the answer for you. With that being said, Kim, it's your time to shine. Please let us know how you're feeling today, and please take it away with the presentation. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you so much, Eddie and panelist team. You are the best of the best, and you're so appreciated. And welcome to everyone who has joined this workshop today, Rethinking Our Spending Habits. I should probably do this webinar at least once a month on my own. We all have our vices, don't we? And mine is jewelry. So anyways, and clothes, I could go on and on. But anyways, this webinar, this workshop has actually helped me tremendously with, thinking about the insights to transforming our financial behavior, why we spend what we do. And that's what we're going to get into today. So I'm going to turn my camera off. Don't forget, you can use the Q&A or the chat to put in any questions that you have. We will answer all of those live at the end of the webinar. So rethinking your spending, insights to transforming financial behavior. So what do you think some of the influences are to your spending? So as we actually get started this afternoon, we're gonna turn our attention to our spending habits. How did we become spenders? How did we become savers? There are lots of factors that have contributed to our current relationship with money. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about, we're going to go over the focus on 4 influences during this webinar today. So spending habit influences. This is what we're going to take a look at, you guys. Our values, our self-concept, advertising, social factors, and how these factors interact to shape our spending habits. So the first thing we're going to cover, which is really important, is value versus attitudes. And to understand why we spend, we have to start with understanding our values and attitudes that we have toward money. So there's not a big difference. We use these 2 words interchangeably often, but there is actually a rather distinct difference between the 2. And values are strongly held beliefs that reflect our upbringing. And when I went over this workshop, this webinar, I took so much of this in because it was just new information. But our upbringing actually has influence on our spending habits. So if we don't examine and have a conscious effort of what that is, it's really hard for us to figure out what our personal values are, or to alter them if we need to when it comes to spending. So attitudes are more easily changed. They usually reflect our current life situation, our likes, what we like, what we don't like. And they're not as deeply embedded as our values, but the two absolutely work together and can influence each other. But they are not the same. They're not the same. So if I were to give you an example, this is Robert, meet Robert. He values hard work and commitment. But on a Monday morning at 6 a.m., Robert's attitude towards work, it may be a little less positive while his alarm clock is going off. Does anybody feel that in the mornings? And it could create a negative emotional reaction to his alarm going off. And his value hasn't changed. He still values hard work and commitment. Just his immediate attitude towards going to work. It's early, his alarm clock keeps going off, and he continues to hit that snooze button. So that is what we wanted to give you as an example today. And there's that old alarm clock. I'm not a big fan either, Robert. So, that's all good, but what does it have to do with our spending? Well, it matters because our values usually influence our attitude. Our attitude creates an emotional reaction. That emotional reaction can lead us to certain behaviors. For some of us, that behavior detours us from achieving our financial goals. So that's why we're doing this today. So how do we stop that counterproductive behavior? Believe it or not, we have to go back to the beginning and understand where our values about money and spending actually come from. And the only way to alter your attitude towards money and thus your behavior is to understand the values that lead to those attitudes. Our money values are influenced by lots of different factors. You can see 3 of them in front of you. What affects our money values? We're going to start with family. So family in which a person is raised, believe it or not, usually has the greatest influence on an individual's values about money. And research has uncovered that a lot more, we spend a lot more compared to how our parents spent or our parents think. So as far as our spending habits are concerned, our tendency to spend or to save, or the way we manage money, even the brands we choose to spend our money on, they're all highly influenced by what our parents did while we were growing up. It's just a fact. And then, of course, there's media, American movies, television. They're all filled with images of, I guess, what we call the good life. The lifestyle depicted is often far from the reality that most of us really experience. And yet those projected images deeply influence the way we see our personal level of success and what we value. And then you see culture. An individual's values are also influenced by those cultural values. And here in America, we have a culture of spending. I mean, we just do. Since the explosion of easily accessible credit that began in the early 1980s, our cultural tendency has been buy now, pay later, that mentality. And we value material goods. And culturally speaking, we tend to judge others not on their character, but rather on what they own. Next, we're going to do an exercise. You guys, if you have pen, paper, just remember you are going to get this PowerPoint after the actual Zoom, probably next week. But, if you have pen and paper handy, we're going to do a couple exercises that you can actually write down what they are. You don't have to do it while we're on the live Zoom, but this will help you going forward to understand why you spend the way that you do. So step 1 is going to be identify a time in your life when you felt the happiest. What were you doing? Were there others there? If they are, write down who those people were. And what in particular made this time happy? So step one is identify a time in your life when you felt the happiest. What were you doing? Who was there? And what in particular made that time happy? And then step two is identify a time in your life when you made a difficult decision, but you knew with all certainty that it was the right decision. So you're going to ask yourself, what made the decision difficult to make? Did you feel relief once the decision was made? How did you know it was the right decision? So step two is identify a time in your life when you made a difficult decision. And then you're going to ask yourself, why was it difficult? Did you feel relief? Did you have that peace once you made it? And how did you know it was right? Step three is identify a time in your life when you felt the most successful. What about the achievement made it a success? Did other people know about it? Did they know about your success? Or was it could have been a personal achievement? What particularly made you feel successful? So that is step three, identifying a time in your life when you felt the most successful. Step four is identify a time in your life when you felt the most satisfied and peaceful. What was going on at that time? What was happening at that time? And again, were there others with you? If they were, who were they? Write them down. What in particular made this time peaceful and satisfying? And then step five is going to be using your experience of happiness, certainty, success, and satisfaction. Try to describe in just a few words why each experience was truly important and memorable. So why are we doing this? Because really these experiences are going to allow you to come up with some core values. Most people have between 3 and 7 core values. If you have more than 7, you might want to group them together. Choose the one that best represents that group of values. So let me give you an example. Let's say you feel most successful because you organized $1 million fund raising drive for your favorite charity. You might use the value word philanthropy. You might use community. You might use generosity to describe why that event was so meaningful to you. And these words can actually be condensed even further to service to others. So you had 3 core values there that you condensed into service to others. That was the true value of that event. And once you have defined your core values, then think of ways in which you choose to spend money. And some core values that just come off the top of my head are, integrity, determination, fairness, honesty, influence, kindness, knowledge, leadership. It might be respect, responsibility, security, stability, wealth. It could be wealth. It could be wisdom. It could be boldness. It could be balance. Those are all just examples of core values. We always love to put quotes into these workshops. So here is one from Gandhi. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. And your values become your destiny. Nothing more truer. So the question is, are you currently spending in line with your defined values? So we gave you what you needed. You had to really zone in and figure out what your core values are. And now you can ask yourself, are you spending based on those defined core values? And if your spending and values do not reflect, then it's time to make a change. Making a conscious decision to put your money into things that represent your core values rather than allowing your spending habits to determine your values can really make a difference in your life. So we really encourage you to share your values with your family. Spending decisions will be absolutely influenced by every member of the family. So it's important that everyone understands one another's values and that you have identified your shared values. So now let's turn our attention to other influences on our spending behaviors. And you see them in front of you on the slide. Value, advertising, social factors, self-concept. So we're going to talk about the effects of advertising on spending. So this is unbelievable data. Experts estimate that the average person exposed to anywhere, get this, between 250 and 10,000 advertisements daily. I'm going to say that again. The average person is exposed to anywhere between 250 and 10,000 advertisements daily. I immediately think, how can our brains even handle that kind of information? This takes into account not only the advertisements that we see when, we watch TV or listen to the radio, but also things that pop up while we're surfing the web, while we're using our favorite apps on our phones. I mean, even social media. What about when you're traveling? Lots of billboards glaring right at you, lining the highways. To subtler advertisements such as product placement in movies and TV shows. Lots and lots and lots of things being thrown at us all at one time. So now we're going to do something a little bit fun. Let's test our own brand recognition skills by seeing if you can identify these logos. So they're going to be very, very, very familiar, and you're probably going to be able to name them with little hesitation. There's one. Everybody knows what that is. Nike. What about this one? Anybody going to have KFC tomorrow for the 4th of July? The next one might actually be one of my favorites. I do love coffee. So there's, of course, Starbucks. You're probably all saying it way before I even say it, because we know what these are because they've been thrown at us for so long. There's the good Apple logo. And this one comes right straight to your door. Anybody have one of those? What is it? I don't know. I saw a rug one time. It said something about Amazon and had it from my husband or something. And there's a restaurant. Anybody know what the restaurant is for this one? Chili's. And everybody knows what the big M arch is, and that is McDonald's. And then we have Twitter. I'm not so sure Twitter hasn't changed its name to X, but I don't know. I don't do Twitter. And then Target, one of my absolute favorite stores. I do love Ross and TJ Maxx, but I do like Target as well. So I think we all probably knew exactly what those were, unless you live in a cave, or you've cut off all communication from the outside world. We all know what we can do to combat the influence of advertising. And the best way to combat the influence of advertising on our spending is really to understand the tactics that advertisers use to get us to buy their products. So advertisers are constantly barraging us with images of happy, healthy, smiling people using their particular product. This creates a psychological connection in our brains, linking personal fulfillment with their product. I mean, it just is what it is. They're very good marketers. So take a moment, you guys, look at these different pictures and point out specific products that are highlighted in the TV and movie clips. You can see Starbucks, Apple, Audi, Eggo, Xbox, and PlayStation. So advertisers actually pay millions of dollars to have their product featured in a scene. So an example is Heineken Beer paid $45 million to be centered in a movie scene. Apple doesn't pay for product placement. Instead, they send multiple gifts to the production company with the hopes that they may use the product in a scene. Now, how smart is that? Seems to work because Apple was the most promoted product in recent years. So these connections are so ingrained in our psyche and culture. We base an individual's worth, including our own, on the stuff that we have. How sad is that? But there's also social situations that can influence our purchasing behavior. What are some social circumstances that might affect our social behavior and affect our spending? You might think of things like neighbors, family, friends, society, social class. It could be a type of job. We are more likely to purchase items from people we know. So for example, you're more likely to purchase something at a friend's party than from someone you do not know. That is why companies like Tupperware, Pampered Chef, Avon, Mary Kay, and many others rely on in-home parties to sell their products. Do people still have in-home parties? I know that there's a lot of lives, like paparazzi is jewelry, and I attend some lives on Facebook, on social media, from people who sell it. So I wonder, do people still go into homes and do Tupperware and Pampered Chef parties? Because I haven't been to one probably in 20 years. Our social class has an influence on our spending attitudes as well. So have you ever experienced a time when you received a significant increase in income only to find that it actually increased your spending? It may be because of your change in social class. Social class, if you don't know what it is, it's a group of people who have the same social, economic, or educational status in society. And when you have more funds available, you may be giving yourself permission to buy more or buy more expensive items. If you are opposed to spending more money with your next raise, consider doing things like contributing it to your IRA, to your retirement, to your 401k for that amount that you gain, because you've already been living on the income that you made prior to that raise. Or set up a direct deposit for it to go into a savings account. And then once you get to a certain amount, open a CD. Here at the credit union, it's only $1,000 minimum balance to open a certificate of deposit with us, a CD. And that way it's locked in and you're not so quick to go and take it and use it. And that way you know that you still got a raise, but your net income on your purchasing power is still the same as before. Nothing really changed. So to some degree, consumers in the same social class exhibit similar purchasing behavior. So the higher our socioeconomic status, often the more expensive the cars we buy, the houses we own, clothes, jewelry, food, even food that we buy. There it is right there. Nice house, nice car. And then our peer groups also have a really strong influence in our spending habits. We may think that peer pressure of this kind only exists for teenagers. Well, let me tell you, that is not the truth. It's true for adults too. Have you ever found yourself going out to lunch at work, even though you brought lunch because someone else was going out? Been there, done that. Or spending more than you intended to when shopping with a friend? Yep, I've been there, done that. Just by knowing that this peer pressure exists, we can still choose to spend, but we can also choose not to. It is a choice. You know, sometimes it helps if we imagine ourselves in the situation ahead of time. So I know that I'm going, you know, the day after Thanksgiving, I'm going to go shopping with all my girlfriends, and we're always going to go to Richmond, and we're going to go from store to store to store. And just because my friend Barbara is, you know, buying all this home decor, it does not mean that I have to, because my house is already decorated. Or, you know, if I've packed my lunch and I'm in the office and my work friend Susie comes over and says, hey, you want to go to lunch? I don't have to say, yeah, I can say, hey, thank you so much for inviting me, but I already have lunch I can share with you, or let me know a specific day and I won't bring lunch in and we can go to lunch. As simple as that. So hopefully bringing this exercise, that exercise actually helped you to think about it a little more deeper. So let's not forget about the atmosphere. Most of us have had the experience of being in a department store or shopping mall and finding it extremely difficult to find the exit. This is not an accident, you guys. This is not an accident. The longer you are in the store, the greater the likelihood that you will make a purchase. Believe it or not, retailers control the lighting, the layout, the music that you're hearing, the temperature, and yes, even the smell, to entice you to buy. And for most people, shopping is not simply an act of purchasing what you need and then going home. You know, when you go, just about every retailer now, when you go up to check out, they say, did you find everything you need? Well, my answer is yes, and a whole lot more. But if I had a specific list, let's say I'm going to the grocery store, when I have my specific list, or I do pickup, I don't even go into the grocery store, I can't tell you the amount of money that I save. So, shopping is entertainment and social involvement, and the shopping mall is experiential. They know exactly what they're doing, and they control the lighting, the layout, the music, the temperature, and even the smell. Isn't that just crazy? You know, for researchers, malls are vast, they're complex and complete, and studies have shown that more actual purchases occur in the third hour, in your third hour of shopping. So malls are designed to keep you there. They're there to keep you for at least 3 hours, with winding architecture, appealing music. They even have massage chairs now where you can sit and put a couple quarters in and get a massage, and all those are pleasing, those pleasing aromas, like Annie Ann's, the pretzels. That's the first thing I smell when I go into a mall, and it smells amazing, and I want to go straight there. So typically I'll try to eat and be full before I ever go to a mall or a grocery store. So another very important factor that influence our spending is our self-concept. I am, two of the most powerful words, what you put after them shapes your reality. So each of us carries a certain set of beliefs about ourselves. We just do. And that set of beliefs is known as our self-concept. And generally speaking, we act in ways that are consistent with our self-concept. So an example of this, if a component of one's self-concept includes, I am a good cook, that person is more likely to offer to help in preparing food for a party than someone who has the self-concept of being a bad cook. Think about your self-concept in regards to spending money. Your self-image answers the question, who am I? So self-concept may include ideas such as, I'm a hard worker, I'm good at math, I'm tall. Now just think for a minute about your self-concept in regards to spending money. And keep in mind that when our behavior doesn't match our self-image, it leads to mental stress. Acting in ways that are contrary to our self-image can lead to something called cognitive dissonance. In psychology, cognitive dissonance is a mental stress caused when our brains are confronted with contradictory beliefs or values. And I'll give you an example. A person whose self-image includes, I am good at riddles, will experience cognitive dissonance if they are confronted with a riddle that they cannot solve, while someone without that self-concept will likely not even care. So if your beliefs don't match that behavior, your behavior, you will be stressed out. And let's not forget about the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true. So what does this have to do with money? Are you guys asking that question? It's because we subconsciously go into great lengths to avoid cognitive dissonance. We will act in ways consistent with our self-concept around money. So if you think you're a saver, you'll probably feel some psychological stress when you have to take money out of savings for a large purchase. Examining and recognizing your self-concept around money can help you avoid behavior that is counterproductive to reaching your financial goals. A spender who makes a conscious effort to change their self-concept to that of a saver will find it much easier to save for their goals. Changing how you think about yourself may actually change your behavior. So when faced with the decision of whether to buy or not to buy, if you think to yourself, I am the type of person who saves money, you might actually find it easier not to buy. Doesn't it all just sound just so easy? And spenders, you're more likely to make impulsive purchases. Once we have a greater understanding of our values and those factors that affect our attitude about money, we can then decide if we need to make a change to reach our financial goals. Are you ready for a change? That's the question. So if you have determined that changing and becoming more of a saver than a spender, then it's time to talk about a few strategies that are going to help you to save. Pay yourself first means you're going to designate a certain amount of money before you go into savings, before any other bills are paid. So let me give you an example. If you decided that you will save 10% of your income, then you would create your budget based on 90% of your take-home pay. A lot of people report the most success when they have that 10% directly deposited into a savings account or a money market. Because if you don't see it, you won't miss it. Another strategy is learn to love saving. You may find that you're watching your money grow, and saving for future purchases will be more satisfying than spending impulsively. Remember, we talked about this. Change your self-concept from one of I love spending to I love saving. It can actually help you change your behavior. And then align your spending with your values. If you find that you are spending more money than you want on items like entertainment, eating out, clothes, jewelry, other wants, you've got to review those core values. If entertainment was not one of your type values, why would you spend a lot of money on it? Find the things that truly, truly matter to you and demonstrate it's important. It's very important when you go to spend and when you make those spending decisions. And finally, please be aware that we are highly influenced by, we talked about it earlier, the advertising. Think before you buy. Ask yourself these things. Will I use this? Do I need this? Where will I put this? What if I wait? There was many times in my life when I was younger, I would buy impulsively. I love to decorate. I love a home that is cozy and comfortable, and people walk in and they just feel at home. And I would just buy. And I'd come home and be like, oh my gosh, I have nowhere to put it. My house is already decorated. And now when I go, I ask if I pick it up and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I love this and I want to buy it. I am absolutely going to ask myself, where am I going to put it? Because I am not a hoarder and I cannot stand for things to be unorganized. So I'm always going to say, will I use it? Do I need it? Where will I put it? Are there underlying motives for me making this purchase? Do I own anything else that provides the same use? More than likely you do. Did I feel a need for this item before I saw it in the mall? Probably not. Am I motivated to buy this because I like the setting I saw it in? And how do you make that same setting at home? You'd probably have to buy everything that you saw in that setting. Did the salesperson influence my desire for this item? I find that less and less. And what if the financial cost of this purchase, what is the financial cost of this purchase, and can I really afford it? And what if I wait? I might say, oh gosh, it might not be here next week. What else will I have to give up to afford this? What are the other costs of this purchase? And will it start an argument with my spouse? The answer is always yes to that. Will it make me feel guilty? The answer is probably yes. I'm saying personally for myself. And do I need to buy other matching items? Of course. You got to have a bracelet. You got to have a necklace. You have to have earrings to go with that new outfit. New purse to match, shoes. So, it just could go on and on and on, you guys. Understanding your values, your attitude, your emotional reaction 100% can help you change your behavior. They really can. Defining your values actually helps you make money choices that are in line with them, like we just went over. Being aware of the things that impact your attitude, like social status, peer pressure, advertising, can help you change your behavior. And don't forget, building your savings usually, I'm going to say pretty much always, reduces stress. If you have that emergency fund and your refrigerator goes out, you're going to be okay because you can go get a new one. You don't have to wait until you save up the money to go get it. And you definitely don't want to put it on a credit card unless you can pay it off. Combining this insight with why you buy will hopefully help you make the choices that will allow you to meet your financial goals. And we just want to make you aware that we partnership with GreenPath Financial Wellness. And we really hope this workshop was helpful to lead you on the path to be intentional with your money choices. GreenPath is a financial wellness corporation. It's a nationwide nonprofit that provides financial education and tools for people to lead financially healthy lives. And you are welcome to schedule a free phone or in-person assessment and meet with one of GreenPath's financial wellness specialists. They are amazing. They are kind. They are nice. It is confidential. But GreenPath offers financial assessments. They offer housing counseling, credit report counseling. Make sure you're pulling your credit report at least twice a year. Since COVID, they have passed that you can get your free credit report from annualcreditreport.com once a week. You don't get your FICO score, but at least you'll be able to look at your credit report, see exactly where you are, and identify things that could be fraudulent. Make sure that what's on your credit report is actually what you owe, because when you have to dispute something, there are time frames in place for that. And they also offer debt management. So GreenPath Financial Wellness, they partner with our credit union. We fully trust them, and that's why we partner with them. And you can speak with a caring, certified financial wellness expert as a member here at the credit union. So that is it, you guys. I hope this presentation was beneficial.
Thank you so much, Kim. We appreciate your time. Thank you for that amazing presentation. And as usual, You do such a great job. And it's, one of those things that we have said before that, we need to self-analyze and see if like, do I want this? Do I need it? I'm a saver, I'm a spender. When you were saying that, I found myself being a saver because I never like to move money around, to be honest with you. Like once I get paid, I pay my bills. There's a certain percentage that I put on the savings. But for any emergencies that come, if I need to move that money, I'm like, do I need to really move it? Can I leave it where it is? So it's one of those things that you gotta do your own analysis. So, thank you very much for that. And also I need to stop giving in on some peer pressure when it comes to lunchtime because I love food, I really, really love food. So it's safe to bring, I mean, it's healthier and you'll save money when you bring food from home, but from time to time it's not bad to spoil yourself. But with that being said, I do see a question on the chat. So Andrea, please take it away.
Is there a way to set spending limits on my card to help me manage my spending?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is there a way to set a spending limit on my USFCU card to help manage my spending?
So your cards here at the credit union, we have debit cards and credit cards. You can absolutely set up alerts to where you would get an alert if you spent a certain amount of money. Carrie can chime in if she has a different strategic way. I know she does a lot of those things to help her as well.
Well, you can set alerts, but you can also, if you have a USSFCU card, go in online banking, you can set card controls is what we call them. So you can set it so it blocks transactions over a certain spending amount, or you could just set it to get a notification. But yes, so you could, and that's a good question because I do that too. You could also do it we talked about this in last week's webinar. You could do it if you say for fraud purposes, but like block ATM transactions or block online purchases or something like that by, category type of purchase. So yes, you can. Thank you for asking.
And you can turn your card off and on. So when I go the day after Thanksgiving shopping, I will turn my credit card off and only have my debit card because I know that I only have a specific amount that I can use. And then when I come home, I go right in and turn my card back on.
So as you can see, the United States Senate Federal Credit Union, we have the tools. It's up to you how you want to use them. Like Kerry was saying, if you want to use it for fraud purposes, or if you want to be like me, that you want to, stop your spendings, you can use all these tools to your own benefit. If you have any questions, how to set them up, if you have any concerns, please contact us to our 800 number. We have great experts that want to answer all of your questions. And of course, we always emphasize, as you can see on the slideshow right here on the screen, GreenPath, they're, licensed investors or licensed, financial advisors that can give you the advice that you need when it comes to your financial goals and dreams. Because that's the reason why the United States Senate Federal Credit Union has these webinars, is because we believe in our products and services, and we want to make sure that all of our members take advantage of that as well. Do you have anything else on your end, Andrea?
Yes, I do. What do you think is the best way I could identify and eliminate unnecessary expenses?
You have to go back to those core values. You've got to sit down and figure out why you're spending, what you're spending. Do I need it? Where am I going to put it? And when you're in the store, I'm talking even a grocery store. Like I said, I do much better when I go online to Martin's and I do the pickup. I literally, typically when I do every 2 weeks, I can do like $150 to $175 if I go pick it up. If I go in the store, I do not get out of there under $300, $350. No lie. Because you're going up and down those aisles when you really should stay in the perimeter of the grocery store where your basic food needs are. I hope that answered that. If anybody else wants to chime in, you just really have to be conscientious of why you're spending what you're spending and why you're buying what you're buying.
And to emphasize what Kim was saying, that you start walking, you start seeing things. I believe humans, or at least me personally, I'm a very visual person. So I'm gonna go for like one thing, but when something catches my eye, it's like, I started thinking like, I think I should take that, because I might need it one day. I probably don't even need it. I want it, So it's one of those things that you gotta stay strong, have some self-control, and be like, you know what? I think I can buy that next time or when with the next paycheck. But then again, it comes to that psychology that comes behind the stores. Like they control the music, the smell, the colors, where everything is placed. So it's one of those things. Because think about it, if you go to, let's say, Target, because we're talking about Target, and then you wanna, they wanna catch the kids' attention, they're gonna put the toys in the lower area of the aisle, because if it's too high, they won't be able to see it. So, those little details you gotta think about. So, and then Carrie, I think you answered one of the comments that one of the attendees did. Do you want to share her testimony for briefly?
Oh, so one of the attendees shared that she was during this webinar, she was about to make a purchase for 1,800, and she clicked she X'd out of the screen. So that's kind of, you're better at sharing.
Congratulations. That is so
nice
awesome.
to hear those things.
To the person that said that, you're doing better than I did. I would have clicked send, to be honest with you. So I'm glad that you put in these tips into practice, because that's what we're here for. This is like Kim always is saying, people helping people. So when you share testimonies like that, we can apply it to our own lives, and then you can apply the presentations to your life as well. So anything else you see on your end, Andrea?
So you probably already mentioned this, but what percentage of my income should I aim to add into my savings each month?
So the webinar, the workshop example was 10% to savings, 90%. But, I highly recommend GreenPath actually has a lot of budget documents that you can download and, sit down and first of all, you're going to find your source of income, all the income that you have coming in, and make sure you don't include overtime if it's not, something that you have all the time. You just want to use the income that is coming in each month, and then sit down and figure out all the bills that you have going out. And you have to include everything, even entertainment, gas, everything, and then see what you have left over. And then even put in your budget how much you typically or what you want to allot for going out to eat. And then whatever you have left over, you're going to make a decision. It might be, you might be really surprised at how much you have left over. But if you don't do it, you're never going to know. You're just going to continue to spend, and, unconsciously, you're not going to know what's going where. So if it's out of sight, out of mind type of thing, you really have to be dedicated to following that budget and putting that money in savings. I used to be the type of person that when I had to go visit someone in the hospital, I would have to go during the hours that the gift shop was open, because they have the cutest stuff in there. Have you ever been to a hospital gift shop? I mean, how sad is that? I don't go now. I make sure I look up when the gift shop is closed, and I go during those times. But, that's just an example that we just, do it without thinking, without processing it, without saying, do I need it? What am I going to do with it? Where's it going to go? And do I have anything at all that I could replace it with that I already own?
And then Carrie, I believe you share one of our tools. Can you please explain what that is?
Yeah, so that is the budgeting worksheet. It's fillable electronically, but I printed it out one time, and I sat at my desk one afternoon and I went through my bank account for the last for the whole 30 days, and that was the most eye-opening thing, to sit there and write out every single thing. It's just that personally changed my my view on spending. So take a look at that worksheet, because I think everyone will like it. And I just wanted to share, with my son, he's 16, he has no concept of work or money. But I always try to tell him, I'm like, when you buy these ridiculous things, you're taking away your future choices, and of course he just rolls his eyes, but it is true. If you're buying this, then you're losing power in the future to do what you want and make choices that you want. And never resonates with him, but hopefully that'll help you.
And I think to emphasize what Kim was saying and Carrie what was saying as well, and thank you both ladies for sharing that as well and your experience doing this. I think it's a matter of one needs to sit down and then do the numbers, because I was one of those that back, when I was a little younger, I would be like, whatever money I got, I'm gonna play it by ear, and whatever I can save, I'll save. And if you keep playing things by ear, you won't go anywhere because you end up spending more than what you're supposed to, and you end up, putting yourself in certain positions that you shouldn't. So I think sitting down, see how much money is coming in, how much it's supposed to go out. Because some things, like for example, wants and needs, like we're saying, bills, that's something that's it's a need, like you need your water, you need your, Wi-Fi because you're working from home, you need gas for your car, you need to pay your car insurance, your car, and things like that. Those are things that you cannot debate. Like you gotta pay them one way or another. But there's other things like, can I eat at home, or can I eat out, or do I need another dark blue shirt, or I already have that one from the credit union, that type of thing. So it's just a matter of doing the numbers and then analyzing, like, what's the goal that you want to do? Like, do you want to save up for like a short-term goal? Are you trying to get property? Are you trying to pay off loans? Whatever it is. So it's just a matter of sitting down and putting those numbers in paper, because that helps. Like me personally, like I said, I'm a visual person. And putting things into perspective and writing them down, that helps me a lot personally. So you can even do the budget, the budgeting sheet, like, physically on paper, or you can do it online as well, and it will help you as well. So somebody was asking as well, panelist team, is any of us at the heart office? I don't know if anybody wants to take that question.
Well,
I am not, but
we
you can call
personally
me.
yeah, call Kim, but we
Yeah.
work out of Alexandria. But if you are close to heart, there are great people there
Great
too,
people,
that you would
yes.
sit down and talk to. We also have Kim by phone, who loves to talk and share resources. And then, and I'll share this in the follow-up email, we also have a financial advisor on hand who can, if you feel ready, just talk to answer questions, give you future advice, help put things into perspective. So we have all kinds of resources and great people who, love to help others. So I will share information on all that. And I'm sure by the end of the day, I'll send that over. You could all access it.
And then the same person that was asking that question was telling us this is the best thing that they have done in weeks. And she said, thank you very much. So we appreciate you for saying that, because, these webinars wouldn't be possible without you attend this. So the fact that you recognize, that we're doing this for you all, and it helps us, as well, to hear those comments. So you're saying thank you to us, but actually thank you for being here with us and giving us that positive feedback. That gives us a lot of energy and, positive vibes. So thank you very much. Do you see anything else on your end, Andrea?
Yes. So how should I prioritize between saving for short-term goals and long-term investments?
So Kim, you might have advice, but I have a resource. No, there's
Sorry, I was typing my direct number and I totally, sorry. I
well,
missed
I'll
that.
just share that. There's and I'll put the link in the chat too and follow up with it in the email, but an aligning priorities workbook that covers just that. Short-term versus long-term goals. And Kim, but other than that, do you have advice on how to distinguish and set aside for the two?
Can you read the question to me again, Andrea, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was off mute still. How should I prioritize between saving for short-term goals and long-term investments?
Well, long-term investments are going to be things like you're saving for a home, you're saving for retirement. Short-term are going to be things like I want to go on a vacation for my, I don't know, specific birthday or anniversary. So you're going to want to try to find out for short-term what that is going to cost you, first of all, and then figure out when you're going to go and then divide it by the number of days and try to start saving that, or the number of weeks, however often you get paid, and try to start putting that aside in a savings account. We do offer money market. You do have to have a minimum of 2,000, but we have other savings besides your main share that you can name what you want. You can name it vacation 2025, vacation 2026. You can even say we have a holiday fund where you put a certain amount in, and then when it's time to go and buy gifts, you don't have to think, oh my goodness, I can't pay, you know, this because I need, it's the holidays. So, you know, just strategically think about it like that. More long-term, I would highly recommend that you sit down with one of our financial advisors at Fellows, and they are the subject matter experts. If you know that you want to retire at this age, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to be able to retire at that age. So I hope that helped.
And I think having different accounts, like Kim was saying, like put a nickname to it, like vacations, holidays. I think that's gonna help as well. Like maybe, you want to create an action plan personally, saying like, okay, from every paycheck, I'm gonna save, I don't know, example, $100 for a vacation. You don't know when the vacation you may want to take the vacation, but at least you want to have those funds, because you don't want to dig into those funds that are for the priorities that we were talking about, like bills and things like that. So, having things named differently or labeled differently, that will help you as well. And doing just your budgeting worksheet will help you as well. And then what is the aligning priorities workbook, Carrie? What is that you share?
That's the one for this distinguishing between short-term savings goals and long-term savings goals. So that's another fillable one too. So you don't need to print it out or pen and paper. You type it right in there, and that it's full of great setting aside money for the two. But I also like the advice you gave about Michael, our advisor from Fellows. He's my personal financial advisor too. And for the long term, he's got great advice and insights.
And then Carrie's a living testimony that Fellows is definitely there to help you, because she was last week when she was presented. Because believe it or not, if you missed last week's presentation, go check it out on the recordings. Carrie was the one that was presenting for the very first time in our weekly Wednesday webinars. That was history in the making, everybody. Making. But she was, telling us her story, how she started with like an okay credit. If you don't mind me saying this, Carrie, you said that you started with like an okay credit, and then, you had to create an action plan before you got hired with us. And then as you were, hired, you had to execute that. And then last week, everybody, she was showing off her like amazing credit score, So it's one of those things that, if Carrie was benefiting from Fellows, and their services, and you can benefit from that as well. So, I think what I want to emphasize with it is that whatever your financial goal is, whether it's, saving long-term or short-term, well, you want to repair your credit, whatever it is that you want to do, just let us know, and we will direct you to the people that can help you with that, or we can do it ourselves at home as well. So it's one of those things that whatever it is that you want to accomplish, that's the reason why we do these webinars, to let you know that we have the tools, we have the people, and we have the resources, because the United States and the Federal Credit Union, we care about your finances. And that's one of our goals, making sure that you reach your financial goals and dreams. Just like how we want to be financially successful on our end, we want to make sure that our members are successful as well. Sorry, guys, I'm talking a lot.
That was awesome. And I just want to add, it makes me wonder why isn't everyone using the United States Senate Federal Credit Union as their primary financial institution? Because we are coming to you authentically. We truly do care. We do. We care about your financial future, your financial wellness, your financial dreams. Eddie, great job.
And then just to emphasize, Kim shared her information on the chat, but if you haven't seen it, her direct number is 571-253-6378. And you won't get like a machine or anything. It will be directly Kim Freely answering for you. So that's another reason why we want to share this, is because it's people helping people, like we were saying earlier. We want to make sure that you get that human touch, that human perspective, and it's us here in the panelist team that will be the ones helping you with all your questions and concerns. So with that being said, Andrea, I don't know if you see anything on your end. We want to make sure that we're mindful of people's time.
One more question.
Going twice.
Oh.
Carrie, great content, fantastic graphics. We appreciate you for all you do. Andrea, thank you very much for all those questions that people were sending to you directly. They were so amazing. There were some great questions. So everybody, give yourself a clap, because those were some great questions as well. And last but not least, Kim, a great presentation. Thank you for your advice. Carrie, I saw your hand. Tell me.
I just wanted to say, somebody just sent in that about business accounts. We didn't have business accounts when we started. Oh, so now I'm going to move everything. So if it's a business account, it just triggered me. We're having our business, our membership development, or sorry, our member business services team host our webinar on July 17th. So they're going to talk all about the services there and some tips for small business owners and how credit union business products can help them. So I hope that you'll join that one.
July 17th, business accounts. So please stay tuned, join us. And if you want any information before that, please contact one of us, or when Carrie sends you the follow-up email, you can reply to that as well. Or you can contact Kim directly as well, or call our 1-800 number. And then we'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Over here at the credit union, we do mortgages, personal loans, car loans, business, you name it, we have the answers for you. But with that being said, we passed that 2:00 mark. It's 2:02. We want to be mindful of people's holidays and time. So thank you very much for being here with us in another weekly Wednesday webinar. Ladies, great job. Thank you very much for all you do. I hope everybody has a happy 4th. We're going to celebrate America and its freedom, is the line of the free. So we're just so glad that you were here with us before a holiday, because I know that everybody's busy doing their own, plans with the family and loved ones and things like that. But with that being said, we'll see you next Wednesday at our regular time. Correct, guys? Give me the thumbs up if that's correct. That's right.
Yep.
Perfect. We'll see you next week. I won't be here because I'm going out of the country. So, I will miss you all, but you will be in good hands with the ladies. So with that being said, thank you very much, everybody. Happy 4th of July and have a blessed day. Take care, everybody.